First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Harakakwadash. I would also like to give a double honors unto the apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone who do rule well, that have taught me this truth. And I would also like to say a sincere shalom unto the hopeful elect, unto the scattered elect, unto the servants, the prophets, the brothers who are out there prophesying and laboring in this truth and in this doctrine unto you. I say shalom. Credibility laundering or strategic self-disclosure. Either way, believe him not. All right. And that's what's taking place right now with this whole Dr. Fauci thing and a lot of things truths that are coming out that we already knew. All right. That the prophets already knew, that the prophets warned our people about these various different jabs or vaccines. I'll just say it. Okay. This is not medical information. We're just bringing out the truth. This is on Fox News, MSNBC, about their findings, or the the advice that Dr. Fauci was giving the public, and now he's under fire for. He's really not under fire. He's just taking the blame. He's just he's the fall guy right now, and what the Esau is doing right now is called credibility laundering, or you could say it's strategic self-disclosure, where they're giving you, it's a tactic that the wicked use. They're letting you know some truths just to save face. All right, and that save face that they're trying to do is they're trying to gain your trust back, gain the public's trust back. So when that mark of the beast comes, everyone's not, oh, what is this? All right, the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, they're trying to build that trust back again. Like, oh, we can trust our government again because they're telling us that we were wrong about this. Okay, and I'm gonna read a little bit of this article, but I got the definitions of credibility laundering and strategic self-disclosure, because that's exactly what this devil's doing. You got to learn. You Israelites, man, y'all should have learned your lesson by now, by never trusting thy enemy. Okay, and Jake still has a hard time of recognizing who the goddamn enemy is. The enemy is showing you who he is because of his actions. Okay, look at the earth, look at the planet, look at the water, look at the air. All right, look at the condition of the people. Look at the poverty rates beginning, steadily rising. All right, look at the unemployment steadily rising. All right, they're coming in and they're telling you, we're going to take your water for X, Y, and Z, for this, for data centers. All right, the jobs are going to be replaced by AI. This devil is basically creating your poverty. All right, and like I said, hey, and it's good. All right, for the prophets, we see who this devil is and what he's about. It's you jakes out there that don't see. All right, that's still going to try to go along and get along, and a lot of them in the process got these various jabs, and a lot of them, a lot of jakes out there, they passed away, whether it be some type of blood clot or whether it was some type of what did you call it? What's that shit called? Myocarditis, heart attack. A lot of jakes is dying out there from that. All right, but they're throwing this guy, Dr. Fauci, under the bus when he's nothing more just a puppet. All right, he was out. He was said, they put doctor in front of his name and said he was this, a specialist and this, that, and the other, and the world believed it through Esau's witchcraft through their social media. All right, it says a House GOP proposal would bar Dr. Anthony Fauci from working for the federal government again after his dramatic hearing on Capitol Hill this week. Dr. Fauci appeared before the Senate Committee of Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs, chaired by Senator Rand Paul, Republican Kentucky, who, when he invoked the Fifth Amendment over 100 times, all right, to not self-incriminate himself. All right, so he knew, okay, he was in the wrong. All right, but hey, it ain't up to him. It's up to the elite of this wicked place. All right, that puts these guys in place to do their bidding. All right, we saw him evade so many questions, pleading the fifth. That's fine. That's your constitutional right, McCormick said in a video shared with Fox News Digital. But you got to understand, all these different networks, whether it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC, they were all interviewing Fauci, They were, putting him on this pedestal and making him seem like he's the smartest guy in the room to tell you these things are safe, yada 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 yada. The whole narrative that Esau pushed during the pandemic. Okay, he argued it should be the same way in government. If you don't want to answer questions about what you did wrong, we should be able to fire you. All right, so these Republicans, Democrats, everyone's pointing the finger. All right, but no one's looking at the bigger issue, the cause of all this. And who's behind it. All right, it says Fauci appeared before the Senate GOP-led panel on Wednesday amid the scrutiny over how he handled the COVID-19 pandemic. But why would a government put it in the hands of just one doctor? Or when they have all this money for research, even though we know that was a big psyop, all right? But they're just showing you that let's throw this guy under the bus right now so we could point the finger and blame him because we need to gain the trust of the people back. Because this government is clearly divided, and when the division starts at the top, it trickles down onto the people. All right, because the people are divided. All right, and it's not just Democrat Republican. It's divided amongst these various races, various classes: rich, poor, black, so-called black, so-called white, Latinos. It's division. Let me grab that scripture real quick, because we're seeing the end of a kingdom, the downfall of a kingdom, and it starts with division. It's going to end with some form of civil war. All right. This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, and verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. If a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. And we clearly see that this has got to be the end. With all these prophecies jumping off the page, let me get it in the GNT. That Mark. Skipped it because it actually, I think in this verse, or I think it may be in Isaiah. Is it Isaiah? Isaiah 19. I think it does say civil war. All right, and that's where we headed. All right, but in the meantime, Esau is using their wicked devices to try to gain the public's trust back again. If a kingdom be divided against itself, it cannot stand. If a house be divided, actually, is this in the? Let me see what version this is in. Oh, this is in the KJV. Let me get it in the So I get it in the GNT. Here we go, GNT. Mark. Damn pop-ups. All right, Mark 3 and very one second. This is the same scripture. Mark 3 and 23. 20. Yeah, here it is. 24. If a country divides itself into groups which fight each other, that country will fall apart. If a man divides itself into groups that fight each other, that family will fall apart. So if Satan's kingdom divides it into groups, it cannot last, but will fall apart and come to an end. So all right, so we're clearly at the end of this man's society, at this man's kingdom, of Esau's kingdom. Okay, and it's going to come with fighting. It's going to come be brought down with violence. Okay, and Esau, like I said, they're doing nothing but what is called credibility laundering. It says reputation laundering occurs when a person or an organization conceals unethical, corrupt, or criminal behavior or other forms of controversy by performing highly visible positive actions which the intent to improve their reputation and let me read the rest. And obscure, where's that? Reputation and obscure their history. So, like I said, they're trying to gain the trust back. All right, they it was unethical. That was corrupt. It was criminal behavior by telling people, giving the public wrong advice, and they're trying to it says performing a highly visible positive action, and they're putting this guy on the stand by to be that positive action. Like, hey, look, we're going after this guy. Let's go after this guy. Let's make this guy to make him to be the problem. All right, and while the world is watching, hey, why don't after all this shit, Dr. Fauci should have retired and moved out of Babylon. No, but the wicked elite had a plan for him. So yeah, we want to prop you up. You're going to be this doctor that gives all this advice, medical advice. But 6 years later, or not even 6 years later, when it's basically happened 6 years later. But when they need him, they're going to bring him back, and they're going to scrutinize everything he said. They're going to ridicule him. They're going to demonize him as the fall guy. All right, to bring because that's how you build these dumbass people trust. You get a fall guy and you point the blame, and then everything is all good. All right, the public forget about it. That's how bugged out these people are. And the other one, I got it off chat. It says strategic self-disclosure is the deliberate act of sharing personal information to achieve a specific purpose rather than simply being open for its own sake. The key idea is that a person reveals something about themselves because it is likely to influence how others perceive them or respond. In common use includes building trust. That's what they're trying to do. A leader admits, I made a mistake on that project to show honesty and accountability. Creating a report. A salesperson mentions they had the same problem as a customer to establish common ground. That's what they're doing. Everyone's coming out. All right, and everyone's like, "Damn, we're sorry. You should have did." They're not telling you how to detox your body from it. They're just saying, "Hey, good luck." Pretty much, teaching or mentor. A coach shares a past failure to make advice and more relatable and credible. Someone reveals a limited budget or a constraint to encourage compromise. A therapist might briefly disclose relevant personal experience to strengthen a therapeutic relationship if it benefits the client. So they're just trying to build the trust back up with the people, because a lot of people had questions about the jab, but they just went along with it. All right, and after a lot of people didn't trust Dr. Fauci. A lot of people were like, "Damn, we told you so." A lot of people have regretted it already. Okay, but Esau, they want to their next big deal, their next big thing they're going to push on the people is that mark of the beast, that RFID chip. All right, which they're going to use smooth words. They're going to use all their witchcraft through their media to persuade the people, to persuade the people's minds. All right, and what they're doing right now is attempting to build the trust back with the public. Okay, that you can trust your government now. All right, this guy was a problem and he's banned. Excuse me. This is Proverbs 26 and 25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. So when he's speaking, like he's for you, and like he cares, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit, and that deceit is one of his his second greatest devices, is his ability to deceive, to point the finger, to say it wasn't me. Okay, to deceive, to say that like I said, it's never Esau. It's always somebody else. All right, if it is Esau, they're gonna point the finger at another Edomite. Okay, but we know who is ultimately in charge of the government health, the government finance, everything that runs this government is the small hats. All right, the so-called J. All right, verse 27: Who diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone, it will return upon him. All right, so a lot of Esau's bullshit they're pushing out there is returning upon them and their people. All right, so a lot of Edomites out there that trusted and went trusted Dr. Fauci and the government and went out there and got jabbed up. All right, ain't no repentance for them, ain't no sorrow for them. Okay, but they're the ones that's going to get this civil war started. All right, because they feel what's the word they feel a sense of resentment towards their government because they in their mind they're thinking, not my America. Nah, this devil hates you niggas, hates you Edomites too. All right, because if he didn't, he wouldn't put you in the same situations, the same give you the same GMO foods, spray the same chemtrails over your house, contaminate your water. Flint, Michigan is predominantly Jake, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot of Edomites that live up there too. All right, where it's a lot of Edomites that live in these various places where their water's contaminated. A lot of Edomites live in various places where data centers are being put up and they're taking their water and taking their power. That shows you Esau don't give a shit about his own. This is a Sirach, Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And though and thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. So of course he's going to humble himself and give you these free shots, all right, and give you free medical advice and give you free physicals and all this bullshit, okay? Because he's humbling himself, he's crouching, he's extending his arm to act like he gives a shit about you, okay? But it says beware of him, all right, and thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away, meaning his wickedness is still there. That wickedness is embedded in Esau. Okay, set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou shalt be, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. All right, so let me go from there to the book of Job, because like I said, this devil don't know. He don't know how to. All he knows how to do is just lie. All right, this is what is this? Job 13 and verse 4. It says, "But ye are forgers of lies; ye are physicians of no value." All right, that goes for all these Edomites in this wicked place, man. They're not true physicians. All right, because their intentions aren't to heal you. They want to keep you on medication. They want to give you chemicals to put in your body to suppress whatever illness that you may have, wherever infirmity you may have. All right, that these doctors are not in the business of healing. All right, they're in the business of keeping you on medication. All right, and if you talk against that, all right, hey, you're going to be considered a terrorist in Esau's eye. Hell, they were saying people were terrorists that didn't take the jab. All right, if you were opposed to it, okay. But now the truth is coming out that that Dr. Fauci had it wrong the whole time, and we knew that. Okay. Um, but yeah, this is and it's mainly Jake, man. It mainly our people that just blindly trust this devil. All right. After all this, especially the older Jakes that really know the history of Esau in the '60s and the '70s, how they did Jake, civil rights, how they destroyed our communities, by allowing drugs. You got to understand, it's not like our people sell drugs and the whole crack epidemic and heroin epidemic that took place in the '60s, '70s, and '80s and '90s. But you have to understand, Esau's in control, so they have the power to to um, enforce in certain laws to rid neighborhoods of drugs. But as long as it's going on in a certain section in the city, it's okay. So this devil has had his hands in the downfall of Jake from day one. All right, especially here in Babylon. All right, where they confused us with with Christianity is a main device that Esau has done to really to deceive us. All right, and keep us from our heritage and keep us from our true power, Yahawah Shemawashai. All right, this is Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. All right, that's the wicked. All right, we know we clearly see. If you don't know, you can clearly see who the wicked is in these last days. All right, if that was a nigga like, if that was some type of nigga doctor up there, some Jake doctor, man, they wouldn't let that nigga out of there without handcuffs on him. Okay, but they let Fauci just plead the fifth. They would have been, man, they would have stormed the Capitol. All right, they would have said, man, string that nigga up. You pretty much. Okay, but hey, Esau he's gonna get off scot free. He not gonna serve no time. Okay, Dr. Fauci and none of these wicked ass doctors. And and you got to understand, a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, they became billion billionaires. Okay, a lot of these people that invested in Moderna and what's the other one? I can't think of the other one. These people became billionaires off of this. All right, off of your ignorance. Okay, and a lot of jakes out there died. You know what I'm saying? Taking that shit. All right, and the there's a lot of them that that ain't really that the jab ain't really took a full toll on them. It's like a lot of these people are out here just walking around ticking time bombs, where you don't especially if they don't have good health already. Okay, let me see what else I wanted to get. Yeah, I'll grab this because we are living in the last days where Esau is being revealed. And that's what this is all about. All right. The Lord is revealing Esau through the spirit of his mouth, which are the prophets. Okay. To bring out this truth, to give you the foresight of what this devil plans to do next. Okay. Why is this coming out now? Why is Dr. Fauci standing trial now? All right. This shit could have happened 4 years ago, 3 years ago, but why is it happening now? Okay. So Esau can build that trust back up. Okay. So you can trust your government. All right. Yeah, we had some bad apples in here, but we got rid of them. Okay. It's all about his deception. That was one of his, like I said, that's one of his greatest devices that he uses is his ability to deceive. All right. And they're doing it. They've done it through the social media, the mass media that they own. They own all these different social media platforms. All right, where they own TikTok, they own Instagram, they own all of these. So where you see stuff, you see information, there you got to understand who's feeding it to you. All right, and hey, the the truth is out there. All right, hey, the prophets are out there giving you the warning. All right, but it's going to come a time where you're not going to be able to get this warning. All right, because yeah, we're the Lord allowed us to be on YouTube to get the truth out there, so you Israelites won't have an excuse. Okay, but where was I at? Second Thessalonians. Like I said, and also this is just to warm you up to build your trust and your and confidence in the government. So when that mark of the beast comes, Jake won't second. Not Jake. Yeah, Jake too, but a lot of people out there, including Jake, won't second guess it. All right, they'll and plus at that time they're going to be in a tough position. All right, financially, certain living situations. You're going to be dependent on certain benefits of the government, and a lot of people eventually are going to give in. So let me get to the scripture, 2 Thessalonians 2:8. And when the wicked shall be, excuse me, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, with all deceivableness and of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. All right, so this devil gonna come with everything. This devil, he might even come out with something to compensate people that took the jab. All right, and, it could be some form of stimulus, like those that took the jab. You know, each shot you took, you're going to get $500 or $1,000. All right, then that would be nothing but a snare unto our people. Okay, because how many it'd be niggas out there that would go get the shot now just to get the $500. All right, that's how wicked Jake is. All right, that's how simple Jake is too. All right, so that's all I had. I just want to go into this because when you see this Dr. Fauci coming out, it's nothing. First, it's nothing more than another distraction, but it's also a tactic that Esau is using to try to save face, to build the trust back with the public. Okay, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the hopeful elect, and I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Harakakudash, Shalom.